Good evening. Good evening from Athens, and I have the pleasure to chair this panel that will discuss the Airpower projection as a key to stability and peace in the Eastern Mediterranean. And there is no better person to discuss about Airpower projection than Dennys Plessas, which is the Vice President of responsible for global pursuits at Lockheed Martin. So, before we get to our discussion, let me try to highlight some of the geopolitical situation in the area. Analysts suggest that the most destabilizing place in Earth is the South China Sea. I disagree. I think Eastern Mediterranean is the most destabilizing uh, area in the whole planet. You can see, if you look around the area, the geopolitical picture, you will see a lot of failed states, from Libya to Syria to Iraq, or countries ready to fail. You see local power competition from Iran, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Israel, and actually these competitions involve everybody else. And then you see countries like Turkey having a destabilizing behavior, as the American ambassador said a minute ago, or in his remark, or I will say it's destabilizing because of expansionism. So the area is unstable. So my first question to Mr. Plessas is, could you comment on the geopolitical trends and how you think this area can be stabilized? And could you tell us a bit the strategy of Lockheed Martin with regard to air power projection in the area?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Professor Platias, distinguished guests and participants. This is an extremely important and significant conference on Southeast Europe and Eastern Mediterranean, and it is extremely timely, as you said, Professor Platias, given the tension and the activities going on in the region. Especially the destabilizing behavior of our neighbors in Greece. First slide, please. In this discussion, I would like to address, as I mentioned, air power projection. Air power projection can play the role of a positive tool for peace and stability if it is used properly and if it is played properly. But before we go any further, let's discuss and define what air power really is. Next slide. With air power, we include a number of components. We include air superiority, global precision attack, ISR, that is intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, maritime dominance, global mobility, multi-domain operations, power projection, and of course, sustainment. Next slide. We at Lockheed Martin, we always put our customer mission in the center, focusing our capabilities, technologies, talent, and culture towards designing and building an advanced but integrated battle space, integrating all components of air power projection, that is, combat air, ISR, air mobility and sustainment, with battle space awareness, autonomy, hypersonics, etc. Our customers are operating in an increasingly complex global environment. Our assumptions on the threat environment most of our customers face are that it is a highly contested area which continues to expand. The fourth generation fighters' capabilities are rivaled. Near-peer competitors are accelerating fifth generation capability. Resilient and dense integrated air defense systems do exist, and long-range lethal weapons are proliferating. Our assumptions on the customer are the desire to be more networked, continue to balance affordability, interoperability, capability, force structure, and the industrial base, as well as establish new concepts of operations which challenge the status quo. Based on the aforementioned, our strategic vision as a company dictates that our customers, in order to be effective in power projection and in order to utilize their power projection to safeguard peace, security, and stability, it needs to be fully integrated, technologically advanced, and affordable. Our air power solutions need to be power customer centric, connected, affordable, agile, and holistic. In the domain of combat air, we should optimize solutions in the future and drive synergy with intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance while we shape persistent and survivable, affordable solutions. In the domain of air mobility, we normally require tactical and strategic airlift leadership as well as air refueling. Finally, we need from the very beginning to engineer sustainment alone or through partnerships with other nations. Our advanced technologies we use today include artificial intelligence, cyber, directed energy, hypersonics, advanced communications, machine learning, robotics, multispectral low observability, and quantum computing. All these technologies should enable future battle space through a better distributed command and control system, discriminating weapon systems, utilizing rapid kinetic and non-kinetic effects, and utilizing and employing interoperability in a multi-domain operations. In digital transformation, we focus always on integrity and quality architecture transformation through advanced analytic integration. To achieve that, we need to attract and develop and retain talent to evolve with the growing needs. In summary, we are transforming our organization to an air power solutions company. And most of the countries that we work with are thirsty about this technology and these capabilities. As for air power projection, it is extremely critical to have the ability and the readiness to project air power more than anything else in order to discourage harassment from neighboring countries showing little respect for international law. This is why investments in air power capabilities are a positive tool for peace and stability, Professor Platias.
I absolutely agree with you. You see, peace can be negotiated, but if there is no agreement in the negotiation, peace has to be enforced both at the international level and at the regional level. And air power is the tool, and the revolution that we have described in military affairs and the disruption that is bringing, it's a useful tool to be able to balance aggressive opponents. Now, coming from the general to more specific, could you tell us about your most successful program, the F-16, and most importantly, how it relates to Greece and the upgrade that is taking place right now? Could you comment on this, please?
Excellent question, Professor Platias. If we go actually to the next chart, allow me to make a few F-16 program highlights. And what you will see there is that the F-16 as a multi-mission fighter aircraft is in today's inventory of 28 countries. This is a very significant achievement. It's the world's most successful combat-proven fighter. We built 4,600 F-16s, and we have, with those F-16s, in excess of 400,000 plus combat sorties that have been flown, and that number continues to grow. It really shows, and that's the most important element, an undefeated air-to-air record. It's the world's most successful combat-proven machine. Ongoing technology flow and sharing between F-16 and other fifth generation fighters like the F-22 and the F-35 continues. The F-16 has about 140 versions with different countries, different blocks, different models. We've already delivered more than 1,000 upgrades, and we also have new production, structural, and capability upgrades to ensure the F-16s continue to fly, and it will fly until 2050 and beyond. We envision current F-16 production opportunities to be around 400 plus aircraft. Next slide, please. Uh, Here, allow me to talk about the Greek F-16 upgrade program of initially of 84 jets that belong to the Hellenic Air Force, and hopefully to continue later on with an additional 38 jets. With those F-16s, we are working very closely with the United States government through the United States Air Force, the Greek government, the Hellenic Air Force, HAI, to ensure a smooth program implementation, employing and utilizing the highest possible technical and operational standards. In addition, we produce the Block 70 and 72. This is a new designation that has been defined by the United States Air Force due to the added aircraft capabilities. We leverage in those designs proven and mature systems that will be supported for decades to come. We balance superior aeronautical performance with a robust mission radius capability and air patrol times. State-of-the-art mission systems suite, basically leveraging fifth generation technology and integrating capabilities into the F-16 based on United States Air Force and international customers' combat requirements. Many F-16 technologies are really technologies that were derived from the F-22 and the F-35. A great example is the AESA, the automatic electronic radar, the APG-83. This provides the F-16 with fifth generation fighter capabilities. It shares approximately 90 to 95% software commonality with the F-35, and we achieve through that technology improvements that continue to flow between our three fighters, the F-16, the F-22, and the F-35, for many decades at a fraction of cost to the F-16 operators. In summary, the F-16 continues to offer for NATO and other users a great defense capability.
That's
If we go to the
clear.
next slide, please.
But
Please.
let me ask a question at this point. I mean, the upgrade of the F-16 is really the natural path to F-35. So if you could comment about the Greek efforts to the fifth generation aircraft, but also what's the situation with Turkey? A lot of people a lot of analysts try to understand the state right now of the F-35 program in Turkey.
I think the next slide may address some of that. Let's go to that. The next slide, please. You see here some of the key components that were used in the F-16 upgrade. In this one, you see the F-35 and the number of nations that participate, and basically you see an airplane that is really redefining the multi-role fighter. Today, more than ever, Greece needs to participate in large, proven international defense programs in order to increase its deterrence capability and enhance its domestic defense industry. With the F-16 upgrade program now under implementation, the next step for the Hellenic Air Force would be the acquisition of a fifth generation fighter aircraft. Lockheed Martin is the only company that produces both the F-22 and the F-35. And while the F-22 is available exclusively to the United States Air Force, the F-35 is the embodiment of Lockheed Martin's cutting-edge technology, modern design, development and production processes. It's an aircraft that will transform operational concepts and actually the way we fight. The F-35 isn't just a new aircraft. It's an ambitious, revolutionary program embracing and replacing many of the different types of fighter aircraft, and it it offers for its users an unprecedented capability. The F-35 is the only available fifth generation aircraft internationally, and it's designed based on low observability, survivability, lethality, maintainability, sophisticated connectivity, and affordability. The stealth capability that is provided by the F-35, the multi-mission capability, the extended range, the state-of-the-art sensors, data fusion, and other network-centric operations, and of course reliability and ease of maintenance, ensure that this aircraft will play a leading role in combat into the 21st century. The F-35, as everybody says, is truly redefining the multi-role fighter. Next chart, please. At Lockheed Martin, we actually see, and this chart here summarizes the number of aircraft built and delivered, the flight hours flown, the number of air bases internationally, the technicians and pilots already trained and qualifying to support and fly the aircraft, and the number of services that have already declared initial operating capability, and those that have actually conducted F-35 operational missions. We see a number of customers. The number has gone close to 15, and there are nations that are already operating the aircraft from its own home soil, while others are conducting training in the US. To the question on Turkey, we understand that the sanctions prevent new contracts and scope changes to existing contracts with the Turkish Defense Procurement Agency, SSB, which may affect follow-on program work. We will work closely with the US government to ensure full compliance with these sanctions. Additional queries may be directed to the US Department of State, and I believe there are speakers before us and after us who are much more qualified to comment on that.
The issue is not just acquiring airplanes. I mean, are these transactions going to help to create technology transfer and an industrial infrastructure that support Greek defense need beyond just one particular program, let's say an aircraft? The issue is how you build an ecosystem of defense via technology transfer. Do you have any ideas on this?
I think the next chart, I believe, will probably demonstrate why what you said about technology transfer is extremely important. The F-35, as an example of a multi-role fighter, covers numerous missions: strategic attack, close air support, suppression of enemy air defenses, air superiority, and extended surface warfare. Next chart. None of these capabilities can be supported adequately without a very effective, next chart please, without a very effective industrial base. Here you see the production line in Fort Worth of that aircraft, and it is a very unique line, both in terms of robotics and other technologies, but also in terms of speed and tempo that they are using. Indeed, next chart, please. Indeed, the technology transfer is an extremely important element of any program acquisition. And when we say that the F-16 represents the best bridge to the F-35, that means that that transition has to be done taking into consideration operational, economic, industrial criteria, both for the short term and the long term. as we move from a very advanced and capable fourth generation fighter to a fifth generation one. Next chart, please. But let me focus in terms of technology transfer to a major facility that exists in Greece and with whom we have been having more than 45 years of strategic relationship. That's Hellenic Aerospace Industry. HAI was established back in 1975. We were privileged and honored to be selected by the government of Greece to serve as the technology contractor. Today, HAI is the sole source supplier for Lockheed Martin for major F-16 and C-130J aerostructural components for our worldwide production. All the above co-production programs are very critical for HAI's growth and survival, a fact that the MOD and the government of Greece are constantly mentioning and emphasizing. HAI faces a number of challenges as the majority of the defense industries around the globe: manpower, cash flow, management, and growth. Lockheed Martin and HAI have a long-term relationship since the foundation of the company. Lockheed Martin has used many offset programs or SSI programs to the benefit of HAI. And actually today we supply to HAI probably in excess of 70 to 75% of its workload. Lockheed Martin also, together with the government and HAI, is examining new options and methods to support HAI's future growth. HAI undoubtedly can be a huge asset to Greece's industrial growth and development. And I believe the government of Greece is recognizing that, and we are working very closely to ensure that they have the necessary trained manpower, the necessary modern systems to grow and to develop and work into those new programs. HAI is really in a critical path. However, the challenges are always investments, inadequate cash flow, etc. I also believe, next chart please, that with the F-35 acquisition, as well as of course with the ongoing programs that exist, basically HAI and Lockheed Martin working together with the government of Greece towards development and growth will probably ensure that in the future we could see a Greek public-private venture that may be necessary to ensure that the Greek defense industry has the necessary flexibility, agility, and quality standards to cope with the technological challenges of an airplane like the F-35. Working together with other allied nations, the F-35 is the perfect example of a multinational collaboration, both in development, production, and sustainment. But we at Lockheed would definitely welcome Greece in the F-35 family when that decision is made. And we will work closely with the government of Greece and the US government to ensure the necessary infrastructure is in place for this uniquely capable aircraft. And I think that's the long-term goal and objective here.
Mr. Plessas, what I understand from your presentation is that the air power projection is very important for peace to be projected and imposed. Oh, and I was really curious to see that in your last slide you use kilos. Oh, this line comes from Perse, that actually it was a play that celebrated the victories in Salamis. And this year we celebrate the 25 centuries exactly from that victory. And what was the component of that victory? Proactive policy, strong defense, a strong ecosystem, and that made it possible for the Athenians to survive, to live in liberty, but also to project power in the Aegean and have peace and stability for the next century. So the historical, let's say, example here is very pertinent. Thank you very much for your presentation.